And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at Treasure Hunter. Now this game kind of intrigued me because of one main reason. Richard Garfield. Richard Garfield, of course, is the designer of Magic the Gathering and Robo Rally and King of Tokyo. He's also done some games that haven't been quite so good, but he's done some pretty cool games. And this mixed with Queen and just the fact that I heard it's about drafting. Hey, I love drafting. You know, drafting where you have these cards in your hand, you take one and then pass it to somebody else. I've always thought that's fun because of decisions. There's regular drafting where you keep the cards that you want. There's hate drafting where you take a card just so it doesn't help somebody else out. How does it work in this game? The game takes place over 5 rounds, and in those rounds, players are trying to get the most money in this game. And so money is going to be points at the end of the game. As the game goes by, you're going to be trying to get these treasures. There's 3 zones to get treasures in. Many treasures are going to be worth a certain number of points. This one's worth 9 coins at the end. Some of them are worth negative. Some of them will be worth things at the end of the game, like this one here is worth 1 for every one of these treasure tiles that you get. And some can be turned in during the game to get other sorts of bonuses. Now the game is going to be one of drafting. At the beginning of each round, players are going to be drawing 9 cards from this deck here. They're going to take a look at those cards. They're going to pick one that they're going to keep, and then they're going to pass the other 8 to the next person. Once they get the 8 from that person, they'll take one and pass it around until you have a handful of 9 cards. And whatever turn it is tells you what direction to pass the cards. After you've passed the cards, you're going to start with each of this area up here and go down. So when we're up in the snowy area, everyone needs to play all the snowy fighters and warriors that they have. So these are numbered from 1 to 12, and you play these. And whoever has the highest total wins the max. Whoever has the lowest total gets the minimum treasure. If there's a tie, whoever has the highest single person. So there are special cards that players can play at this time. You can play a Goblin Mercenary who will add 8 to your total. But when you do that, you from your own personal stash have to put a coin on each of the goblins. You're basically hiring those goblins to come out and fight on your team. You also have the opportunity to upgrade and affect some of the adventurers that go on the mission. So you'll be doing the blue here, then the green, then the red. You might play an animal companion. This is going to double your folks if you have any, of course. So that will make your numbers higher. You also have cards that you can play. For example, this will cancel an adventure out completely. Someone else's maybe. This one will subtract 2 from adventure, and this will add 4 to adventure. So these are optional, but you do need to play all of one color of what you have. And then whoever has the highest amount gets the max, and whoever has the lowest amount gets the min. Having nothing is not the minimum. As long as you have any warriors, that can count for minimum. And so you'll go down through each of these. You're then going to go over and fight the goblins. Dog cards will help you fight the goblins. You're going to count up the number of paws you have. So here I have 5 paws. And the goblins are attacking for a total of 8. This is a tough goblin attack. These goblins can be like 1 to 3. So I can only beat 5 of them. So I'll say, okay, I'll beat these 2. I'll beat this one and this one. That's a total of 5. I can't beat this one, so I need to pay the dues to the goblins. They right at my home, can't put a coin on them. Let's say I've collected no dogs. Then I would have to put 2 on this one, 2 on this one, and 1 on this one. Whoever has the highest dog score out of everybody will defeat as many goblins as they can, and they're going to get the coins that are on those goblins, and they're going to turn these over, which will also be a point at the end of the game, or possibly more so if you get the right bonus tile. There are other cards that you can play during this time. This Mystery Mule lets you draw a random card. Hopefully that's a card that will help you. Here you can play the Scare Goblin, which means you won't beat the goblins, but they won't take any of your coins away either. At the end of a round, players can, if they've collected any coin cards, you simply just play these and collect that much amount. Notice, if I have this gold tile, any gold tiles you have at the end of your turn, you can play them. So this would give me double the money. So if I had played both of these and got 5 coins, I could play this and take 10 more on my turn. And there's lots of different gold tiles that players have in here, and they have to pick the right turn to play it. Like, for example, this gives me 3 coins for every 4, 5, or 6 that I played that turn. So if I take one of these tiles, I'll keep it in front of me, I'm going to wait till I've played several 4, 5s, and 6s. Here's 1, 2, and 3. Or 2 coins for every blue card you played. 1 coin for every red card that you played. Most of the cards are like that. Most of the treasures are going to be different varying amounts. Some of them are very high. Some of them you can see are negative. Some will give you these gold tiles which you'll cash in at different times over the course of the game. And some give you gray tiles, like here this one makes every goblin tile you've beat worth an extra 2 at the end of the game. This one, every treasure you've gotten is an extra 2 at the end of the game. After 5 rounds, you, like I said, count up your money plus the values of your treasures. Not the gold treasures, you need to cash those in before the end of the game. And whoever has the most, the largest amount, is the winner. One thing I should mention, the game allows you to keep track of everyone's score. It comes with these little tokens here for each color, and you can keep track of your points at the end of the game if you need this to count them. Now this game goes from 2 to 6 players. I have not played the 2-player variant. With the 2-player variant, you have your own little draw deck and stuff, so I don't know what it's like with 2. I do think that the more players you add in Treasure Hunter, the more chaotic it's going to get, especially when you're fighting over, each of the different areas because you want the least and the greatest. This game is best, I think, with 3. I have actually not played it with 6. I don't know, but I mean with 5 and 4, very chaotic. 4 not as much, and I mean you can tell the level of chaos increases because you just don't know what's going to go around. So you can play it with 6 players, but with 3 it really shines. 4 is fine, but 3, because with 3, with each of those fields, there's going to be the highest and the lowest and the guy in the middle or the girl in the middle, and so you're going to have those cards, and you're sitting there going, okay, this time I want to be the lowest, or this time I want to be the highest, or I don't care if I don't really want to be either one of those. And you decide which ones you want to win. Maybe you want to save cards and get the goblins. Be warned, fighting the goblins every turn can be a pretty strong strategy, and if you let someone else do it, you'll end up paying them. And if you pay, for example, the goblins a couple coins, and then someone else gets that coins, that's a difference of 4 coins maybe between the 2 of you, and they're getting the goblin too, which is an extra coin. And if they're getting those treasure tiles that let them get more things for goblins, the goblins can be a very powerful strategy if one person does it. Or you can have a strategy of just trying to win as many of the big treasures as you possibly can. Or just going for straight money. There's a lot of different things that you can do and different ways that you can get things. But at its heart, Treasure Hunter is still a very simple game. It reminds me a lot of Medieval Academy, another simple drafting game. That's a game where you draft it to move on tracks. This one you draft to then get coins. It's an easy game, and honestly, this would be one of my picks for the Spiel des Jahres nominees this year because I think it's that accessible. It's that easy to get into. It's fun to play. I can teach this game very quickly, and yet you have some good decisions. Drafting, like I said, is always a fun thing where you sit there and say, hey, do I want this good card, or do I just want to take this card so that Billy, Bob, or Susan does not get the card? And so you're always... There's some good choices there, and when it comes time, you do have to play all your cards, except those special cards. Sometimes I'll cancel my own guy, just so I don't get the highest, because I don't want that treasure. And sometimes you will play those scarecrows, because you want that mystery card, and sometimes it's great, sometimes it's not. I can't really talk a lot about the strategies. I mean, it's just basically try to get a lot of gold coins in different ways, and you kind of go with the flow, especially with drafting. The quality of the tiles and the cards, the artwork is very good. The whole thing is a very attractive package. Like I said, it's easy to bring out and teach people. Even with the higher number of players, I said it's more chaotic, but that doesn't mean it's less fun. I just have the most fun, I think, when I get to make... I feel like there's more strategy as you get with fewer players. But either way, I think this one should be, and can be, and probably will be, a big hit. That's Treasure Hunter.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door!
There.